Hello, my name is Vinu Wilson, and today we will discuss about email etiquettes. The agenda for our discussion today, we will focus on the general etiquette, organizing different parts of the email, sending effective messages, form and tone of the message, and the last, responding to messages. Email is one of the common means of communication in corporates. So as you move on to your corporate culture, you will be using a lot of emails to communicate between your colleagues, with the outside stakeholders. When you do that, you need to follow certain etiquettes or certain good practices that will make you look professional and make it effective, make your communication more effective. Now, generally, what we see is sometimes we tend to make silly errors which could have serious consequences, which could question the reliability of your organization or more specifically yours to the outside stakeholders. So, in order to avoid these embarrassing situation, it is recommended that you follow certain good practices while writing your email. So, first of all, let's look at the different parts of email. Okay. The first thing is about the sender and receiver, wherein we will discuss two CC and BCC. The next one is the subject line. The third is salutation or greeting. The next one is the email body, attachment, and the last we'll discuss about signature. Now, the sender's name will reflect the name of the person sending the email along with his email address. So when you join corporate, you will be assigned an email address from which you will have to communicate. Please remember all your official communication should be through this email ID. The next thing is the to section. It is for the receiver to whom you are sending your email. Okay, so to whom the next person to whom are you sending your email, that email address has to come in the to section. The receiver in the CC or carbon copy section will be the one who will be receiving the message that you send, but he may not respond to it. For example, your immediate supervisor, you may be required to keep your immediate supervisor in loop with all your communication. So at the CC section, you will include the name of the supervisor or the people who need to be in the loop. They may not generally respond, but they must be aware about this particular communication that you're making to uh, the main recipient. The next one is BCC. BCC stands for blind carbon copy. Uh, Generally, it is not recommended to use the BCC section because the recipient of your mails may not be aware about whom you have sent this email, whose address is mentioned in the BCC section. So BCC section blinds the other recipients about about receiving this message, okay, or the other persons may not be aware that you have sent this message to this particular person. So to avoid any sort of distrust, it is generally advisable that you don't use BCC. Okay. The next thing is with regards to your subject line. Your subject line should be crisp, it should be concise and related to the content in the email. For example, uh, if you had a department meeting and you are asked to send your meeting minutes, so the subject line should reflect minutes of meeting or and the date when the meeting was held. So that keeps it very specific, very concise, and the recipients of the message can easily identify what the content of the email would be. The next thing is regarding the salutation. Now, in a professional communication, you must keep your salutations very professional. generally you won't use the same lingos that you will use in an informal communications like hey, hi. You will restrict it to dear sir or ma'am, or if you know the person by name, you will say dear Mr. Epen. Similarly, so you will not use any sort of informal addressing to the other person, even if that person is very close to you, you know him outside office. You should remember that this is a very professional communication and he is your work colleague, and you must respect that, and you should call him by his name, like dear Epen or whatever his name is. Okay. The next thing is with regards to the email body. Generally, an email body consists of three parts, that is the introduction, the reason for writing, and your closing remark. So, your professional email should contain these three parts uh, in the email body. Okay. The last thing is with regards to the signatures. Generally, in a corporate setting, with your official email ID, they will also provide you with a preset signature. So it is advisable that you don't tamper with the preset signatures. And in case if they don't provide you any, it's always better that you can create one. Okay, so a professional signature line will contain your name, your designation, and your contact informations like your direct number, your email, your company website. So that's enough for a non-preset scenario that you can include as part of your email. The next thing is with regarding to your attachments. Now, when you send an attachment to the recipient, make sure that the file name of the attachment looks professional. For example, you're sending, let's take the previous example where you're sending the meeting minutes. So the meeting minutes hyphen 25 June, if that is what you have saved as a PDF and that is the attachment that you would like to share, this is an ideal way of naming your attachment rather than you naming it with your name or some number or some date. Like, please avoid like something like with your name, like binu.pdf. Don't use it. Okay, it doesn't look professional. So whatever is the content, okay, make sure it's just similar to the way you frame your subject line. Your attachment file name also should be similar, and please avoid attaching too many files with it. Okay, because generally organizations have a limit on the number of size of document or the file that you can attach. Okay, so your attachment should be within those limits. The next thing is you need to be very careful about replying. When you're replying, you should not click on reply all. Sometimes you may get a message or an email wherein you are also added as part of the communication. You are also CC'd. Okay. So when you are responding, if you are asked to respond, you need not respond reply all. Okay. You can only reply to the person. Okay. The next thing is with the restricted use of punctuations. Okay, you should not use an extra punctuation marks like an extra full stop or an extra exclamation mark. It looks very unprofessional. And the last thing is with regarding abbreviation. Please don't use abbreviations like great GR8 or your in any formal email communications. However, you can use some accepted abbreviations like PFA, which means please find attached, or FYI for your information. This is acceptable, but other than these, like other abbreviations, you should avoid. The next thing, since we are in this WhatsApp culture wherein we send a lot of emojis as part of our text messages, please don't do it when you're sending a professional email. That makes it look very unprofessional. And the last thing is, please proofread your message before sending. Check for your grammatical errors or spelling errors, because that would not uh, make a good impression. Now we will talk about the font and tone of the message. It is said, it is in the corporate setting, it is not what you said that matters, it is how you said it that, that makes all the difference. So when you are writing an email, first of all, use professional fonts like Times New Romans or Arial. Avoid using multiple colors and limit your font sizes to 10 or 12. Highlight the important point by italicizing or underlining them. And in case of list of details, instead of writing it in paragraphs, you can use numbers or bulleted points, which makes it look more attractive. The next thing is with regards to writing an email with all capital letters. It would look like that you are screaming at the other person. Okay, so please avoid using all capital letters. Restrict the use of humor. Humor may not may generally not used in a formal communication, because the other person, if he's not very close to you, or if he doesn't follow your humor, it may backfire. Okay, so avoid humor of any sort in a professional email. Keep it to the point. Be aware of the cultural nuances. Don't say anything that could hurt the cultural sentiment of the other person. Avoid writing an email that is very emotional or which has a sarcastic tone to it. Okay, this is not accepted. And when you are writing, make sure that the tone of your writing is not very rude. Okay, it should be professional. It should be very diplomatic. Okay, the other person should not get irked by the way you have framed your sentences. Okay, so that is what I have said earlier. It is not what you it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Okay. And the last thing is with regards to responding to messages. First of all, please restrict, or please adhere to the turnaround time to respond to messages. Sometimes you may be tied up with a lot of work and you may not be able to respond back to an email immediately. So make sure that as soon as you finish your task, you will reply to that email. Now, you should always begin an email by thanking the other person for writing in case if the other person has sought certain details for which you will require some additional time, it is always better you let the other person know that you will take time to respond to that email. So do it as quickly as you receive the email. Tell it to him that I need some time to respond to the mail that you have sent. Okay, that is a very good etiquette that you should remember. And the last thing is prioritize your emails. There would be a lot of emails which may differ based on their priority level. Some may be urgent, some may be very immediately, uh, some mails may require some action to be taken. So you need to prioritize your emails. Reply to the most urgent ones first. Okay, so the conclusion is following a good email etiquette is necessary for creating a positive image, not only for you, but also for your organization. Okay, thank you very much.